I'm eating Girl Scout cookies. It's a weakness. Don't judge me. And I'm drinking a little bit of milk. All the things I shouldn't be doing. But it's Girl Scouts cookies! Oh man, I had some really good responses to that video I put out yesterday, which really kind of meant a lot because I really, I'm putting myself out there and don't know what's going to come of that sort of stuff. And I am so fidgety and antsy when I vlog. Today was one of those days where I spent a lot of time going back and rewatching some of those vlogs. In fact, at the gym, when I was doing my cardio after our strength training, instead of listening to music, I watched some of my old vlogs on my vlog channel, obviously. And so that's kind of why I'm doing this, because today was one of those days where there's a lot of good things happening for me. And so because I'm in this like kind of a depressive funk right now, I'm dealing with, some depression and stuff. It's I want to be more excited about some of the good things that are coming my way, and so I'm trying to force myself to be happy. Had a one-on-one meeting with the owner of our company today, and he told me some really exciting plans he has for me. I started at my company as like, I guess, a peon, I guess you could say. I mean, it was like practically a temporary job, and then I just kept moving up the ladder, and then I got myself lateraled over into IT because I didn't start my job as IT. I started as a salesman, and so selling, the programs and stuff, the ideas and concepts that we develop. And so we had an hour-long chat today, one-on-one. It's always scary when you get an email, from someone in the company that says, "Hey, owner wants to meet with you for an hour on this day, so set aside some time." And your first, obviously, and this isn't just me, this is probably anybody would go, "Oh crap, what did I do? What happened? Did I lose the Johnson account?" And so you kind of freak out. But then I went, I got a raise recently, a really good raise. I've got my review was like 4.5 out of 5. It's like 20 different categories where 1 through 5, 5 being best, and my average is 4.5. And so I was like, I know I'm not in trouble. And so he had some really good things to say that really made me feel good, because I was starting to feel not really lost in my company, but just kind of unappreciated in a sense, because my immediate boss isn't, he's in Boston and I'm in California. And so it's kind of the situation where you only hear from him when something's not right, sort of thing. So when you see an email or a phone call or something from this particular guy, you kind of go, "Oh man, what happened now? what I do," sort of thing. And so the owner of our company had this meeting with me, and it really made me feel good. In fact, I was so excited about this meeting, I even told my wife, I texted her immediately, and she was at work, and she can't really receive phone calls at work like I can. Like at work, I go on YouTube, I've watched movies. I mean, there's a lot of freedom when you work in IT. But my boss bought me a book, and it's funny. It's really funny, this book, because he's, especially with coming off the heels of yesterday's vlog, because he told me, he said, I've got some real plans for you in the future. And he kept talking about personally like mentoring me to become like a senior person in this company. And well, I wouldn't say senior person, but he recognizes me as an asset in this company, and he wants to use my abilities and my intelligence, because he commented on how intelligent I am, which I kind of think I am. Hey, if I've got to be proud of something, I'm very intelligent. And so he wants to develop my strengths. And he asked me, he said, "So what are your strengths? He says, "I know what your weaknesses are. You've told me." He says, "But what are your strengths?" And this was a lot of like, what are you unhappy about? What are you happy about? It's just getting to know me. I've been with the company 6.5 years, but getting to know me on a more personal level. And I've interacted with him tons, obviously, over the 6.5 years. And he told me, he says, I see things in you that I don't believe that you see. And he said, and my point was kind of proven here when you couldn't really tell me what any of your strengths are. He says, the strengths that you mentioned that you have, everybody has. He went on to talk about this book that I'm about to show you that he read years ago. And he said that apparently it identifies that everybody has the same 31 strengths. Everybody's born with it. There's just different levels of it. But then everybody has 5 unique strengths that just really stand out. And he bought me this book called Now Discover Your Strengths. And so he wants me to read this because there's some tests that you take throughout this book. He gives you like a code, and you go online and you take this test. And he wants the results of the test because, you know, 1, he wants to make sure I read the book, and 2, he wants me to prove that I'm serious about learning more about myself and strengthening the things that are good about me, so that he can further advance me in the company wherever the years may take us. So that really made me feel good because I've worked so many jobs in my life where I was unappreciated, overworked, and underpaid. I think we can all relate to that in some way. And so I'm really excited to start reading this book. I'm not going to read it today because I've been fighting a migraine since Saturday. It just won't. I don't even know if it's a migraine. I've taken medication for migraines, like prescription strength stuff, and it doesn't even phase it. So it could be a tumor. Who knows? I have a brain tumor. Wouldn't it be funny if I really had one? Anyway, so I'm going to probably start reading this tomorrow if my head feels better, hopefully. I'm praying that this stupid headache will go away. And I'm really excited to see what comes of this book, especially since I never really knew where I stood with the owner of our company. Like I said, I've worked with him for 6.5 years, but never really knew exactly where I stood. So this really made me feel good today, and I just think it's so funny that this came off of yesterday where I talked about, you know, a lot of my own weaknesses, and it's almost like a sign that says, hey, you need to switch your attitude, mister. And so sometimes it's these little reality checks that you're not expecting that mean a lot more to you than you can really realize.